Well, guys, how we going? 2021 hasn't exactly started off the way I would hope it to started. Bit of a sad video, this one, and yeah, the twins are out of action, and I'm not too sure how long for. Yeah, as you can see, I'm pretty disappointed because there goes my chances of properly shooting Orion, the constellation of Orion there in the detail I wanted it to be in. I did go out and shoot a couple of images before this happened, and um, I was able to work out exactly how I wanted to shoot things. I wanted to have both RASs in on the same target. I want to get a fair bit of data on a one panel and then move across to the next panel on another night or something like that. So my goal was to try and capture or try and obtain beautiful amounts of detail with a lot of data per panel and so forth. So that made me think a little bit on how I should be controlling the mount and what software I should be using. Now the ASI Air Pros do a fantastic job in doing all that. And it would be a problem if it was just single target imaging. Now, because I'm doing mosaics, that makes the challenge a little bit harder in terms of working out which panel to shoot next. So it makes sense to use a standalone program. Now, I've been looking at programs that can handle dual imaging cameras and stuff like that. But the biggest concern I've got is polar alignment, and the ASI Air Pro system is really easy to use polar alignment here in the southern hemisphere. Unlike the northern hemisphere, you got Polaris, which is a nice bright star. Southern hemisphere, we don't have that. You can't even see the stars that we need to polar align on. It's very, very difficult. So the ASI Pro system makes that really easy for me, as I'm a travel astrophotographer. Now, the Pole Masters, I've been looking at that as well as using Sharp Cap, which will just use my guide camera and the scope to do that, so I don't have to worry about buying any more cameras. But even that process doesn't seem as easy as the ASI Air Pro system. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. But I'll get straight to what's happened. You can see the mount next to me, the CGXL. Now I love the CGXL, but it's blown the motorboard. I had an error on my hand controller saying error 17 and 16, which is the I think it's the RA in deck. Basically saying it's getting no signal from all that. So the power comes on the mount, but nothing happens on the hand controller, and the hand controller is just dead. But if I connect the hand controller up to my laptop via the USB cable, comes alive and shows me the errors that it's got. Now, this occurred while I had everything set up in this room, and I was just trying to get a bit of a feel for the program. So everything wasn't connect. The cameras weren't quite connected up. I was just trying to get an idea on what program I wanted to use, what program I could use for the dual imaging, and everything like that, and what program would communicate with the, obviously getting the mount communication and stuff like that. So it was all set up. And while I was going through the software and trying stuff, the mount, it was meant to have been in home position. However, over time, the mount was moving. So when the CGXL is in home position, it seems to not stay in home position. It will continue, the motors will continue to have power tracking. So by the looks of things, it doesn't turn off the tracking aspect of it. So when you go to home position, the tracking's still enabled. So it's still moving like it would be if it was throughout the night sky. I don't know if that's an actual fault with the CGXL or not, but because of that issue with everything on it and without it being balanced, I think it burnt out the board on it. Might have had too much strain or whatever, because I didn't have everything all balanced. I didn't have everything all set up, because all I wanted to do was just plug it all in and just see if I can get the communication to work. I had no intention at all of slewing things around or anything like that. So as I said, had my back to the mount, and that was for quite a while. I'd say probably about an hour or so, with me downloading programs and working out what I need to do and everything else like that. And then when I was trying to connect the mount, it wouldn't work. So I swung the chair around to have a look, and my mount wasn't in home position. It had moved a little bit, and there was an error on the hand controller. So yeah, that really blows big time. It really sucks. To be honest with you, a bit pissed in myself, and also the fact that I thought that if the mount was in its home position, it wouldn't have moved. It shouldn't have moved, but it does. So yeah, that's it's a bit concerning, because you know, if I was to send it back to home position after an imaging session and I'm asleep, and I wake up the next day and the mount's been continuing to move after it's gone back to home, and then everything else thinks that's it, but it's still moving. Yeah, it's not great, but I still love the mount. I still love everything that Celestron does. But I'm a bit disappointed in that and how the outcome of it's turned out like this. So it's given me a bit of thought as to what to do next, and I'm trying to contact the right channels to try and get myself a motor board for it, or send it off to get inspected and looked at, because to be honest with you, sending that size and that heavy of a mount off is going to cost me a lot of money, and I'm almost better off just buying the part, to be honest. But I don't know, I don't even know where you can get it from here in Australia. I don't think you can. So yeah, I'm a bit, as you can tell, I'm a bit down by it all, a bit shattered. I really wanted to, even tonight, go out, clear skies, but I don't even feel like going out and even taking my Z7 out shooting, because that I've actually had that Astro modified. So yeah, bit down, but I'm trying to stay focused, trying to work on what I'm going to be using this time for while the mount's not operational. I'm going to probably redesign the system a little bit, get the cameras and focus motors connected up to the computer, and run them through various different programs to make sure that's all working. And once that's all working and that's all fine, and then it's just basically the mount and getting that working correctly. And yeah, so there's a bit to think about. Sucks because I can't bring you guys any Twin Rasa videos, and it looks like Orion's out of my hands for this year. So yeah, sorry guys, it's a bit of a downer video. Yeah, trying to remain positive. But yeah, joys of the slight mistakes and end up being big mistakes. And I don't know if it's my fault or if it's an issue with the mount. All right. Yeah, I'll probably continue to obviously make some videos along the way. As I said, I can probably go out and shoot some nightscapes and stuff like that. It just won't be tonight, or maybe for the next week or so, because the moon will be starting to rise back up, and you guys know I don't really like shooting in the moonlight. So yeah, just looking at my two Rasses just sitting down there. I reckon I'm going to probably adjust the focus motors on them, modify the brackets so they sit a little bit better, and the actual way they mount and set up on the mount itself. Might do some alterations to that, and then I might eliminate the two ASI Air Pros and run a slightly different setup. All right, well, yeah, sorry about the gloomy video, guys. I wish it could be a bit more upbeat and a bit better than this, but yeah, it is what it is, and we'll be back up and running again, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I know the lighting's not the best in here either, so yeah, it's a bit sucky. All right, guys. Well, you know what? I'm just going to say thank you so much for your support I've had throughout the year last year, and I hope you all have come back to a good new year. Yeah, the 2021 hasn't started the best for me, but I'm sure it will get much better really soon. And yeah, if anything else happens, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But unfortunately, it's part of the reason why I haven't been able to upload any videos as of recently. But we will, and I'll talk a little bit more about some other equipment I've got, and the Astro Modded Z7 too. So yeah, hopefully you guys will look forward to that, and I'm going to go drown my sorrows a bit more. So until next time, guys, take it easy. See ya.